Welcome to Burning Questions. In every episode, we take on 5 essential questions about life on a rapidly warming planet. I'm Leslie Davenport, your host and a climate psychology consultant. And together with thought leaders, activists, and people from all walks of life, we explore how to build resilience and courage and create real change. Transformation can't be done alone. It takes all of us. So thank you for joining, and let's get started. Today's guest, Dr. Renée Lertzman. She's the very first person I reached out to when I began getting involved with climate psychology, and I've been fortunate enough to be involved in a couple of projects with her over the years. And she's a real pioneer. For the last 30 years, she has been bridging psychology with climate change, sustainability, and existential threats. An academic turned practitioner, she designs frameworks and methods that guide people to action and create impact on climate and sustainability issues. Over the past 2 decades, Renee has worked with global leaders, governments, startups, mission-driven companies like Google, IKEA, the California Academy of Sciences, helping them navigate the emotional complexities of climate engagement. She's developing a new academy that equips changemakers with the psychologically grounded resources for collective transformation. And I'm very excited to see her forthcoming book to be published by Viking in 2027. So Renee, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for inviting me.
Well, let's jump right in. We'd love to hear the point when the reality, the severity of the climate crisis really hit home for you.
It's hard to pinpoint a moment like that for me. Um, what comes to mind are a few things that I think kind of come together. When the first thing that comes up is the experience I had going to an exhibit in London in 2006, I think. And it was produced by an arts-based project called Cape Farewell.
Mm.
Cape Farewell they were pioneering. They were way ahead of the curve. It was founded by a sculptor, Peter Buckland, and he brought together incredible artists, writers, creatives, and they went sailing on a ship up into the Antarctic. And
Oh.
they actually went through they were able to pass through a particular strait that hadn't been accessible
Oh, mm-hmm.
until that time.
Yeah.
And the only remit for these people was to just simply be and experience and create something if it moves you. And so they
Mm.
ended up having this incredible exhibit that I spent a lot of time in when I was living over in the UK. And there was, sound of the ice. There was some sculpture. It was this full range of work. There was a choreographer who had spent time walking and did this incredible piece where she was like superimposed in this glass box doing movement.
Mm.
So that, um, I was already doing my PhD in the psychology of existential threat. So this wasn't new for me. But there was
Mm.
something about my experience with that modality that gave me entrance into the issue, into the crisis in a different way.
Oh, it sounds incredible. Yeah. Yeah. Well, how do you navigate so much harm and destruction that's happening? What supports you in the emotional side of this work?
hmm I would say, again, sort of a confluence of a few things. One would be staying very connected with other people who are very awake and engaged and not um, falling into the rah rah kind of solutioneering, like
Mm-hmm.
positivity, like we can do it, pushing,
Yeah.
or on the other side where the only focus is on grief, despair, feelings. Like that's not my vibe either. Where
Mm-hmm.
I tend to live and where I find a lot of inspiration and energy is precisely by being around people who walk that middle, who are taking kind of an integrated approach where
Yes.
we have this capacity to be with and
Yes.
stay engaged, but not like tip over into one of those
Yes.
tendencies. So that's one, is like that relational, just even if I'm not literally in contact with people, just knowing about that's
Mm-hmm.
happening. And then I would say the other for me personally is this capacity to zoom in and out of altitudes and keeping in mind that you know, uh, they're massive cycles that humans and the earth go through. And I try to
Mm.
take that big picture of like what's
Yes.
within my realm and what on a certain level I'm not in control of, right? And so to
Yeah.
me it feels like a kind of a altitude shifting practice.
Yes. Oh, both of those examples sort of are reminding me of how easy it is to get pulled into something and sort of get stuck.
Hmm.
And I often talk about flow being, it's not so much we want to feel one thing or see one thing, but we want the capacity for movement and navigation. And that really sounds like
Hmm.
an essential element of what you described.
Right. Yeah. Hmm.
Well, from where you stand and all the work you've done, can you identify what you would consider to be one of the most effective drivers of change and action?
Do I have to pick just one?
No.
Um, so high level, high level is having productive interactions with people, groups, communities who see things very differently from us. So that's at the
Mm,
highest level. I think that is the most impactful thing is having productive interactions with people who see the world differently. Now, if you click into that, what enables us to do that requires considerable skill and training.
yeah.
And so obviously I'm biased. I would say investing in your own development, whether that is as a facilitator, like take Facilitation 101, or mediation or MVC, whatever, but invest in your own development as someone who is capable of having productive interactions with people who see the world differently than you is like where
Mhm,
it's a very high ROI. And
mhm.
then related to that, I would say invest in your own development as a leader, and so that includes like leadership capabilities and what does it mean to be a leader today. And obviously, I'm biased because my work is all about how we need to
Yes.
be evolving our leadership into what I call guiding versus
Yes.
driving or writing. It's like actually showing up in a very different way. So
Ah,
anything that like supports us in evolving in that way, I would say is a big, huge, huge, worthwhile investment.
and we're so grateful for the work you do, Renee. I mean, the way you've described it with guiding and
Mhm.
where we, can go astray in that even well-intentioned,
Yeah.
it just feels very vital.
Yeah, I would add actually, I didn't mention motivational interviewing, but
Hmm.
that's been a big influence on me, which is a training that was designed initially for clinicians working in public health. But I've been through my own training with, as you know, with Steve Malcolm Berg Smith.
Yeah.
And I find that very, very helpful. So I would also say to people, like, go and take an MI, a training in MI, do it online, do it in person. It's like a global movement.
Yes.
So that's also, I think, really helpful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Great. Well, given that we're in this for the long run, and there are lots of ups and downs, is there anything you found for yourself that's sort of a source of inspiration, a touchstone, something that
Hmm.
you can come back to that bolsters
Hmm.
you?
Right. Well, I have a Buddhist contemplative practice that I started when I was 20. And so when I was 20 was the first time I kind of went and did a training, retreat. And I keep coming back to that. Even if I may not meditate every single day or have a really
Mm,
robust practice in that way, I find turning to Buddhist teachings, Buddhist poetry, Buddhist writing, and particularly the flavor that marries a Buddhist contemplative practice with nature and with
mm,
earth-based orientation.
yeah.
So, for example, there's a poet, Jane Hirschfield, who
Oh,
is
yeah.
one of these people. Do you know her work?
I do.
So she
Beautiful.
she really marries, it's very earth-centered. There's a lot of, nature, but it's also she's resourcing from a deep Buddhist contemplative place.
Yes.
Um, I also find other Buddhist writers like Mark Epstein really helpful and inspiring, again, who marry psychology with Buddhist practice, right? And kind of
Hmm.
existential topics. So yeah, that's kind of where I turn, poetry, meditation, and obviously being in nature.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, before we close, is there anything else on your mind and your heart that you'd like to share?
I guess the only thing I would add is that we we are in a time where we are really being invited to evolve. And I think that that frame, at least for me, is really helpful, is that we see this crisis as an opportunity to consider what really matters and how do I want to show up in the world. And the only thing I would just add is it's kind of along the lines of what I said before, which is we can't, there is no outer work without inner work,
Yeah.
so it's sort of like the law, it's kind of considered a law, as above so below.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I feel like if we just keep that in mind, that our job is to keep these concurrent tracks of work out there and work
Yes.
here and work here.
Yes.
So it's this, these realms.
Yes.
I'm showing these three spheres. There's
Yes.
the relationship with yourself, attuning to yourself. There's relationship with others, socially, attunement, and then there's with the bigger whole. And
Yes.
just staying connected with that, I think is really important right now.
Ah, beautiful. So clear. You can articulate these complex ideas so well. So
Mm,
thank you for
thank you.
offering this today.
Thank you. Thanks for holding this space and having these conversations and for all the amazing work you're doing and have been doing. You're also a pioneer.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, for everyone who's been listening in, if you'd like to connect with Dr. Renee Lertzman or learn more about her work, you'll see links on the screen as well as in the show notes. So thank you for joining us. And as always, we're better, we're stronger together. So see you for the next one. Bye, everyone.